Alright, so I'm going to be showing how to open up and disassemble this Dell XPS 139360. Sorry for the noise in the background. I'm running a generator because we have a power outage right now. So anyways, let's go ahead and continue. So you're going to need a T5 or Torx 5 screwdriver, as well as a PH0 or JIS0 screwdriver. To open up components on the inside, you'll need a PH1 or JIS1 screwdriver. But yeah. Alright, so first thing, we're going to flip up this tab and remove the PH0 or JIS0 screw. You are going to want to keep all these screws in order because they are different size, shape, and lengths. The way I do that is I put them in the pattern with the flat side down like this on my desk. In the pattern I remove them. So I'm going to put it like this. Usually I'll work on it this way with the hinge facing me. So you'll have this U shape. Alright, so we're going to switch over now to the T5 or Torx 5 screwdriver. Hopefully you guys are able to hear me over the generator noise. But anyways, we'll get out these screws here. There's 8 of them. Alright, so let's go ahead and get all these screws out. Again, keep them in order. They can be different size, shape, and lengths. And mixing up screws can cause damage to these computers. That's very important. If this video helps you, make sure to like, subscribe, and share my channel with others so that they can also learn how to upgrade and repair their devices. If it helps you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. These are customer computers that I'm working on, so keep that in mind. If you have questions, I'm most likely not going to have these computers, and I don't use these computers long term, so I don't know anything about their long term usability or life other than if I have to repair them. So this has, I believe, a 256 gig SSD, but a lot of it's being taken up. The customer wanted to upgrade to a 1 terabyte, so I cloned it over using this device, and this is now on a 1 terabyte M.2 PCIe NVMe. Alright, so we're going to take this cover off after you remove all the screws. The easiest way to do this, you kind of just open this up. Let me actually remove their post-it notes here. Okay, so we're going to open this up, and then usually what I'll do is I'll get my fingernails in the little gap here, okay, and then I'll use my thumb on the back to push this forward. So here you can see now it's kind of separating the case, and we're just going to work our way over the edges. You can also kind of pull the other side away a little bit, alright, as you do this. You want to be careful not to go too deep into the casing. You can use plastic pry tools, you don't have to use fingernails, of course, whatever works for you. But this I find works best. So I'm going to actually close the screen down so it's easier. I was just doing that to show you guys the inside. So basically I do it this way, push down with my thumb and pull up with my fingernails. And then here you can see now we got most of this casing up. We're going to go over to the sides and we're going to continue doing the same thing. Be careful with the little vent holes and things like that, and also the ports. Alright, so now that we got one side in this, it actually just popped out pretty easily, but if it doesn't pop out, you'll want to kind of go around the other side as well, and then you can kind of lift it up. So here's what the inside looks like. You got the bottom cover. Okay, there's not much in here. You got the battery here. There's a bunch of tape holding the speaker wires along the battery, so if you replace the battery, keep in mind you're going to have to peel that up. There's the battery model number here. I don't know if you can see that, it's super small, PW23Y, alright, and it's a 60 watt hour battery. You got the 2 speakers going up here. Again, the wires are going up all along here, and they actually plug in right here. Let me actually zoom in for you guys a bit. So yeah, the battery or the speakers actually just plug in right here. These kinds of connectors, you just grab the wings and you can kind of just wiggle it, and as you keep wiggling it, eventually it pops out just like that. I'm going to put them back in. I don't want to risk damaging other stuff, so I'm not going to be pulling out too many other components. But here you have the BIOS, CMOS, or RTC, real-time clock battery, whatever you want to call it. Same thing, connectors right there. You got this connector here, which I'm not sure because I'm not going to pull everything apart. But this is, did they label it? Keyboard? JK keyboard. So this looks like the keyboard connector here. Most likely there's a board that goes underneath the battery that the keyboard actually connects to, because I rarely see a keyboard have this small of a connector. Alright, you have the touchpad connector here, according to that thing that it says pad. Then you got this orangish brown cable that's running along under to here for the SD card slot, as well as the USB port. You got the LCD LVDS connector here. There's two PH1 or JS1 screws holding this plate down. Once you remove that plate, there's a tab, you can pull that out. If you mess with this cable, make sure that you disconnect the battery, open up the computer, and press and hold the power button for about 15 seconds to drain any residual power. If you don't do that, there's a very good chance you can damage the backlight circuit and possibly even the cable or the screen itself. Right, CPU is soldered to the board. This laptop actually had an issue where the touchscreen was going crazy, so we actually disconnected this touchscreen cable. And then you got the camera cable here. I might have already showed this model, but I'm not sure. You got the DC jack charge port connector here. One screw holding it down, and then I believe this design is the stupid design where they actually wrap the tail of this charge port underneath this part of the motherboard. So keep that in mind if you need to replace the charge port here. I've done a few videos on similar models. You can actually take out just a few of the motherboard screws, just enough so that you can lift it up slightly and then pull the cable out, and then you can get the new one in and then drop it back down on top. Right, so you don't have to completely remove the motherboard. It's possible to replace this without completely removing it, but you will have to take out a bunch of the screws so that you can slightly lift it up. All right, so I think that's pretty much all I see from here. So let's go ahead now and remove this SSD. Again, the battery, I think I might have removed it in another video to show, but yeah, underneath the battery you have, I think there's a small board that connects the keyboard as well as these LED, this LED cable. It goes up under here somewhere. Alright, so anyways, we got the new 1TB SSD. I'm going to switch over to the PH1 or JS1 screwdriver. Alright, we're going to undo this one screw here. Alright, now that we got that screw up, you can see the SSD pops up slightly. We're going to kind of just wiggle and pull this back. There we go. So we got this. It's a 256 gig SSD as I mentioned earlier. Alright, so now we're going to put the new SSD in here. It's a 1TB. I like to kind of push both sides so that way all the pressure isn't just going one way. I've seen some where the solder job isn't very good and then these things rip off the boards. So yeah, it's always good to just be safe with that. If you're not sure what you're doing and you're not careful, it's a good idea to remove the battery and press and hold the power button for 15 seconds, but usually you don't need to remove this unless you're messing with the screen cable. Alright, but if you accidentally drop something metal in here with the battery connected, there's a good chance you can damage things. So if you're kind of clumsy or don't know what you're doing, it's always a good idea to remove this connector and then press and hold the power button. But anyways, let's go ahead and get this thing back together. Hopefully it doesn't have any weird security set up that will prevent it from booting up after I just cloned the drive. So we're gonna just pop this back together. Alright, make sure everything is clipped in right. Looks good. Okay, we're gonna switch back over to the PH0 or JS0 screwdriver. We're gonna get this open and get that screw in there. Alright, now we're going to switch back over to the T5 or Torx 5 screwdriver. Okay, and we're just going to put back in these corner screws for now because we want to test and make sure everything looks okay. Alright, so let's get these two screws in. And then after that, after we make sure everything is working, then we'll go ahead and put the rest of the screws back. Alright, so you got that. Let's flip this over. This isn't an Apple laptop, they just put a sticker on it. You can see there's the DELL logo underneath. But anyways, let's go ahead and power this up and make sure everything's working. So it's taking a little while to boot up. Alright, we got the DELL logo here and hopefully it's going to start spinning around soon. Come on, there you go. Alright, so Windows is booting up. We're going to make sure it goes to the login screen. If it does, then we should be good to go. We'll put back the remaining screws and that's pretty much it. It's always a good idea, actually, I didn't mention, but it's a good idea to restart the computer one time after having it clone over, because when you shut down the computer, it doesn't reset the system files. So it's always a good idea to go into the shutdown menu and then do a restart, not a shutdown. So in Windows 10, they have this fast boot thing so here you can see it's showing the right date and time. Alright, so we're just going to go over here, power button, and then restart anyways. Alright, so looks good. So now we're just going to put back the remaining screws. Alright, and that's pretty much it. Again, hopefully this video helped you guys. If it did, make sure to like, subscribe, share my channel with others. If it helped you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps, and again, helps me continue to make these videos for a living. I actually need to get a better light for this. Maybe I'll try getting one of those ring lights to put around my camera and see if that helps prevent like shadows and things from while I work on it. That way the light comes from all around. Alright, but yeah, we're just gonna get all these screws in. I'm not closing it because I want to let the computer completely boot and make sure everything looks okay, and it looks good. So yep, I think I have the screen somewhat too close, so the screen is staying black right now. But yeah, thanks for watching. Okay, it actually booted. It's showing the blue screen area, so let's go ahead now and shut this down. Actually, okay, there we go. I don't really need to shut it down. I need to work on it a little more. But let's get this in. Alright, and that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Alright, let's drop this. Bye.